story of how that movie came to be. Does anybody not know that particular tale? The short form is that so many people were dissatisfied with the ending of the series that the director said, "Okay, guys, you want an ending? You got one," and that's what they got. Sounds about par for the course for that series, yeah.
Very unusual.
I like Kiki's Delivery Service. It's probably, if I had to pick one, like, Miyazaki movie that is my favorite, that's the one.
I guess
who has a black cat named Gigi? Kudos.
I guess to make myself feel better about not being able to think of anything, I can note an animated movie that I saw somewhat recently that I did really like, although it is not a Japanese animated movie. I know it's a little shocking that there are yeah. Anyway, I actually was a humongous fan of The Princess and the Frog. I loved that movie. The music in it is like absolutely amazing. It's like the best Disney movie I've seen since The Lion King. So. Good stuff. Comes out on DVD on March 16th.
There's a trumpet playing alligator.
Yeah, there's a trumpet playing alligator and whatnot. Okay.
Okay, I'll see it just for that.
No, it's really good. But anyway.
What do you guys think about the new Cowboy Bebop movie with Keanu Reeves?
I remember seeing Hitler talking about that. I've been hearing something about like Fox doing a Cowboy Bebop movie for like several years. I think it's just sort of I personally would say that's probably just like an urban myth at this point.
I don't know.
They've written a script. The script though would have cost too much to complete. It would have been like $60 million. So they are doing a rewrite of the script. What I will say though is Keanu Reeves can do good science fiction, like A Scanner Darkly, which I love dearly. It's just, I have no idea. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt as Spike, but as for how
I think he could pull it off. I'm just tired of everybody just doing remakes and adaptations. I give a vital organ just to see one original concept coming into the theaters.
It's kind of like the upcoming The Last Airbender movie. Like when I first heard about the plans for that, I was like, what? But
James Cameron's?
No. Yeah. Like, why is everyone blue? No. Yeah. But actually, I watched the trailer and I have to say it's looking good, and I'm gonna give it a chance.
Even though like for some of the characters who like totally aren't little white kids, they cast like little white kids. It's strange. What are you gonna do?
What do you think of the Warner Brothers buying the Death Note American movie?
I hadn't heard about that.
I don't think any of us are really are even that into Death Note. So.
Who was it that they were gonna have to play Light?
They wanted Zac Efron.
Yeah, Zac Efron. They were gonna have to play.
No.
I know I'm pretty apathetic when it comes to that because I figure if I want to watch the Japanese version, I'm gonna watch the Japanese version and ignore a crappier American release.
If people want to go see the crappy one, then.
I mean, sometimes though that's done and it can be successful. The Ring,
yeah.
I think The Ring was really successful being brought over and Americanized, and that got a lot of people to get interested into it. And I think that if to me the goal is if it gets people more interested in the source, then I think that it was a step worth taking.
Okay. Any more questions? Oh no.
Someone just shook their head.
Yes.
Like no more questions at all.
What are your guys' musical?
What was the question?
Musical influences.
Oh, musical influences.
That's something I don't think anyone's ever asked.
Oh, weird. You get a
gold star.
A gold star.
Well, what if it's white gold? All right, we'll make it white gold.
Okay, start. I guess my biggest musical influences would be a band called Dream Theater with a drummer by the name of Mike Portnoy. I've had the good fortune to meet him twice. He's a lovely fellow. As I said, I've also been listening to The Police a lot. I've been trying to get into the head of Stuart Copeland. really interesting guy. I've read a few interviews with him. Seems like a nice enough dude. But and ironically enough, a lot of anime music. I remember very distinctly listening to the opening of Devil Hunter Yoko and realizing that the drum part from that was the same as a song that I was playing for my jazz band audition. So I'm going, wait a minute. Eh? Yeah. And yeah, anime helped me pass my jazz band audition.
I mean, I guess favorite artists and musical instruments or musical influences, excuse me, can actually be a little bit of a different list. I guess probably the first band that I was ever like into, like that I really like followed and everything like that was probably the Beatles. I haven't been playing bass for all that long, so so I mean, back when I was a kid and everything like that, that wasn't even really something that I sort of zoned in on. But the Beatles are definitely a pretty big influence in what I do. And as I got into bass and everything like that, I started paying more attention to Paul McCartney and the way he plays and everything like that. And that's a big thing for me.
It's amazing how you start looking at things differently once you actually start.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess this almost sort of doesn't count because of the nature of what he does, but I've been listening to Weird Al for a really long time too, so I picked up a lot of that. Jonathan Colton's probably had a bit of an influence on me over the past couple of years. Metallica is a very big influence for me. I actually just recently Dave introduced me to a Norwegian band called Katzenjammer. That like the second I heard them, I was just like, this is amazing, and I have taken as much of their stuff as I possibly can. It's these four Norwegian women who they play like a combination of like 29 different instruments or something like that, just constantly switching, and their style, you can't even really describe it. They do all these weird, like offbeat, just incredibly awesome like styles of music that you don't really hear in a lot of contemporary stuff. So I have a feeling that their style, as hard to define as it is probably going to start showing up in what I do a little bit more. You guys should all check them out. They're absolutely amazing. Very, very good. Yeah, they're so good that I actually legally downloaded their music. That's how good they are. But I think I think those would be the I guess I also have to note I have a very large place in my heart for the sort of early to mid '90s era Capcom sound team soundtracks, like specifically from Street Fighter 2, obviously, and Mega Man X. Those have a very large place in my heart too, as well as all sorts of other things. I could go on for forever and ever and ever, but I won't. I won't do it.
Sure you will.
Okay. Oh, anyways, no, go ahead.
Okay. Well, a lot of my influences have been mentioned, like the Beatles. They're pretty big to me, but I started playing guitar in high school, and I remember learning to play music from some of my favorites: Terra, Edgar, Setzer, Kefka. Final Fantasy VI actually was the first video game that I would have my Super Nintendo on, and I would grab my guitar and try to pick out melodies and try to see if I could play chords and melodies at the same time, which arguably I still can almost do. But as far as actual influences and inspiration, one of my favorite bands of all time is Weezer.
Oh, that's so cool. They're
I
coming
love
here
them.
for that Birch Festival here.
Then I want to come here for that. But I love them. Their music is, well, for the most part, very from the heart and very kind of just rockin' and cool, and I like it. But as far as other influences, I've always loved They Might Be Giants. They're one of my favorite groups of all time. A thing they do to describe things that I like in music is that they break all the rules in all the right ways. And I kind of like that, is they know exactly how to break all the musical rules so it sounds cool, unique, interesting, artistic, but more than anything, original. I know that they say they don't like to be pigeonholed as quirky musicians, and I could kind of